Forward here. So we're going to talk about vendor booths today, and I have some people on here who can chime in for sure. I don't know how many of you have heard, but I met Stacy Turner at a vendor's booth, which is awesome. You know, that doesn't always happen, and I was just going with the flow, doing whatever would come up to further my business, to have fun sharing Juice Plus. Julie had booked the table. She didn't even show up. She just said, "You guys go." She sent 4 of us. We each paid our part, and we brought gummies and we brought materials, and it was at the convention center. It was a huge trade show, and it was, I think, 2 days. Well, anyway, you're kind of giving out gummies, you're seeing what will happen. And Stacy was someone who stuck out for me because her and I just kind of clicked, and she had her son with her in a stroller. He's now married and having his own business in Texas. And so anyway, but we clicked. And then she had also mentioned that maybe I could come and speak at MOPS. So sometimes, the people get to the top of your list because you hit it off, or there's opportunity to go do something. Like sometimes we might find somebody who says we could do a salad in a jar party or a sourdough party, or come speak at their doctor's office or whatever. You just never know. So a trade show booth, wherever it is, whether it's at a school or a big convention center or whatever, it's an opportunity to expand your warm market. We all have about 700 people we know or are acquaintances with. And then, like, say my mom, I have acquaintances with her people. And if you get a new team member, you have access to some of those people. But this is cold market, where you have access to all different types of people that you wouldn't usually run into, And so it's cold market. You always want to keep that in mind, because it's kind of a gamble. Can you make that connection with someone or someone's that will then lead to something? Can you make it worth your while? So that's why you don't want to invest too much money, okay? Because you don't know. And so you want to talk to your sponsor or leader about that. Say, hey, I could have a booth for this amount of money. Do you think it's worth it? And then also talk about what you're bringing and stuff like that, which we'll get to. And I just wanted to show you, I want to really call on the leaders a lot, and not just leaders, everybody, whoever's done a booth. But I wanted to show you, I have this box and I keep it under my my desk. See that? It's my little footstool. And this is the box that I go to for like my trade show stuff or my home event stuff. I just throw it in here. Here's one of the things. We're going to conference soon. You want to get a bunch of these. I've given out like 3. I gave them to the doctor's office recently. I had 3 more, but they could put it in their waiting room. So I'm like, here, you take 3, I'll take 1. So that's how that worked. And then I have other things in here. Like you might want to buy like a, what is this? Like a skirt or a cover or whatever for your tablecloth. So there's stuff like this at conference. And then when I don't have my tablecloths in the wash, Doug told me, he's always good at some coaching. He said, get some black tablecloths. And so I got, 2 different size rectangle tablecloths that I just kind of use at home when we have a party or at a trade show. So I don't know if that's in here, but then after that, I put that other thing on it, and I can flip it to Tower Garden or Juice Plus, depending. If we want to educate, we might have something like this, where we show the difference between an apple and a vitamin. And we have the little bottle in here where we put like 13 to 30, showing this is how many vitamins you might get from a vitamin supplement, but in an apple or kale or papaya or peach, you get this. So, teaching people, we're contributing to society no matter what, if we do have a trade show booth. Now, Jana mentioned that she gives out sample packs. So what we do when we feel like it's okay, during COVID, it wasn't okay to open the packs and then put them on a plate. You can either give them out and then you're giving out 4 gummies, or you can put them on a plate with toothpicks, keep them behind your boxes, because the kids will just come up, start eating them. You don't even know if the parents have given permission. Also, if you have a Happy Meal that you've kind of let dry out, I won't even say rot, because it doesn't. If you have a Happy Meal that's up in the front too, they will come and try to eat that as well. So you got to be careful. The kids will just start grabbing things, but you do want the kids at your table. You want them to bring the moms. You want the dogs, even if you're at a farmer's booth or whatever. So you could have like a little thing of water or whatever to attract people. The gummies are a good attractor of people. And oh, Karen says adults try to eat the Happy Meal. We've had some real fun things that have happened. And then you have different materials that you might bring, and everybody's a little bit different in what they might bring. So I have different materials. I have different things that I make sure. So I would definitely bring order forms, because this I just teach them. I say, well, this is, how much this is, and this is how much that is. But if they don't want to take it, they don't have to. I make sure I have some kind of a Tower Garden booklets showing what the Tower Garden can do, and preferably a Tower Garden. Stickers. I got these recently from Vistaprint. So you want to put those on any brochures or things that you give out. You don't want to just give things out without having your name and number on there. The most important thing is to get their name and number, preferably friending them on Facebook, sending them a video right then, because by the time you get home and say you have 30 leads, you're like, I'm done. So sending something while you're talking to them, especially with boards, saying, hey, let me go ahead and get your text. I'm going to go ahead and send you a video. Hey, did you get that? I do that so that I don't have to do it later. Try to do it while I'm talking to the people. And then I have brochures, things like that. Let's see. I have all that stuff. You just bring, whatever you want. I'm going to just show some booths, and then I'm going to have people comment about vendor booths. Let's see. So, and on boards, there's a list. Let me see, you guys are in my way here. I don't know exactly who everybody's booth was or is, but here's an example of like showing the sugar with the soda, that there's 22 packets of sugar. When you figure out how much sugar is in a soda, they've got a lot of different teaching materials. And it really matters, just bonding with the person. Oh, it says it on that, the banner in the back. Now, just know if it's windy, you don't want a banner in the back. It acts like a sail. That was what I was told after my booth ran over 2 other booths up in the air. So you don't want to have a banner in the back if it's windy. Okay. I'm like, why didn't you tell me that before I destroyed everybody else's booths? Anyway, here's Sandy, and she, and probably a lot of people will say, keep it simple, so you be the judge of how you want to do your booth. This is a very clean look. Okay. And you can tell it's older packaging. Here's one with the Tower Garden, and we can have people talk about how they transport it if that's a question you guys have. Here's another Sandy booth. Now, Sandy actually learned about Juice Plus from a trade show, I believe, and Karen's on here. She could tell us about that. Here's Jules with the booth. She keeps hers real streamlined too, but she's got that notebook she probably can just grab things out of. This was at the Boca fair that we used to do. Old packaging. For anybody who's new, you might be like, what is that? You can have signage that stands up, like the kids eat free. You can have the holder that stands up with the order forms. See, Arlene has the gummies on little toothpicks, and she's got it in the front, so she's in danger right there. Kids might come along. And here's another one where she had bars also on that. I like that divider dish she's got. So these are all on Team Transformers in the media section, photo albums. Okay. And she's got this on the left, she's got information about the Tower Garden, and she has Bibb lettuce that she took out of her Tower Garden and put in a jar that day. And let's see, I don't see it. Oh, I see the sign up sheet. It's in the middle. You want to have somebody, some way of signing their name, number, stuff like that. Here's Karen, Jules, and we went to a business event, still brought the same stuff, but made sure we mentioned the business as well. So you guys can look through these. I'm just going to click really quickly at different ones. There's Michelle and Joy, I think. Oh, and Complete. So sometimes we bring carafes of Complete that we've already made, or sometimes people just shake the Complete or the Perform and put it into little cups. Okay. And for those of you who are going to talk, I can always go back to one of these pictures if you're like, oh, I want to talk about that. Here's Nicole and Kimmy, and it looks like Daniela. And so if it's outside, you might need a tent or borrow a tent. Okay. And Doug loves the streamlined view of the tower without plants in it, which I think they might have a plant toward the back, but it does show it differently. And here's
Well, I don't necessarily love it. I mean, it still looks great, but I do think a tower garden with young plants is a lot more impressive than an overgrown,
Oh, yeah.
nasty one.
And a lot easier to transport too.
Yeah.
Oh, and then this is one we did. This was at a baseball game where we brought little oranges to, you know, do anything to try to attract attention. Here, would you like a clementine or whatever? Kids eat free is always good. Okay, so who wants to talk first about their experience or what they bring? Go ahead and unmute. And I can either unshare or share.
Hey, this is Alicia. I haven't
Hi,
chatted in
Alicia.
one of these in such a long time.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. So I had the privilege of meeting Michelle Fletcher at one of these,
Oh,
and because of that, you know, I've been in the community for quite some time now. I'm going on 4 years now, so I'm super excited. So Orange Theory has been really good for me here in Tennessee with letting me do it for free. I don't have to pay a cost to be a vendor at Orange Theory. And even if you're not a member at Orange Theory, it's always worth asking because they're always looking for vendors for those try events. They happen like once every 6 months. September and March are your time frames to check those Orange Theory places out to see if they, you know, would be open to having a table. And what I found this very most recent vendor event that I did, I did two things. I participated in the dry try because I knew I'd gain more trust from people who are members of Orange Theory, and I've been a member now for a year. But I found that more were more willing to come to my table now that they know me. They were willing to try. I bring protein balls every time, and they love them. It's like right after that hard dry try workout, which my heart felt like it was going to fall out of my chest. They were, yeah, I could use a protein ball, and then they taste it and they're like, wow, that's good. And I have my little sheets ready for them to write their names down. And I bring up salad in a jar a lot. So I have a few follow-ups to do with salad in a jar events. A lot of times for this event, I skipped the paper and I just put their information right in my phone. I wasn't hesitating and right away giving them my contact information too. So we'll see what we get from that. But that is a tip I would give if you want to check out some free vendor events, to check out Orange Theory, because they've never charged me for all the events that I've been a vendor at.
yeah. Michelle and I used to do that also. Any other comments? Or Michelle, do you want to comment on Orange Theory? I'm going to show Alicia. I think you have some pictures of your tower garden on here, maybe. I mean, of your booth. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Alicia. Orange Theory is very open. I know one time me and Sharon were walking by an Orange Theory, and I said, let's walk in and see if they'd allow us to do that. And they were very happy to have us. And it's almost like a customer, like giving back to their clients by having us there. And we would make smoothies that people could try after they worked out and try the gummies. And I got some awesome customers from doing Orange Theory.
Mm-hmm. And so here's Alicia outside Orange Theory. Sometimes you're inside, and I see the complete balls. And thanks to Bridget's post the other day, we realized we could put the complete balls into a thermos, and that'll keep them cool. So, you know, you can always do that as well. Yeah, I would definitely go to your local Orange Theory and see if you can show your whole food nutrition. The reason why we approached them originally was we saw somebody else had a booth in there, and it was food, and we were like, well, if they can do it, maybe they'll let us do it. Okay, Sony, you have something?
Sorry, I think there's a lot of background noise. I'm out for a walk. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, cool. So yeah, I second the keep it simple method. If you're taking shakes, I definitely recommend doing the carafe. I've done it where I like blend them on site in a magic bullet, and that works, but I think it's even better if you can have it in a carafe or in a thermos. And then I automate the collection process by having a raffle. And I put a QR code that they scan, and it takes them straight to Project Broadcast. All they have to do, it opens right up in their text messages. All they have to do is hit send. And then that sends them a link. I tell them they have to complete the form on that link to be entered into the raffle. And when they complete that form, they're answering questions like, what is their top 3 health challenges? You know, open-ended questions to, then you can go and look at that form and you've got the conversation starters. So you've got, you know, because you're not going to remember everyone that you've spoken to. Like you said, Stacy stood out for this reason or that reason. But when you've got that information there from that form that they filled out, then you know where to go with your conversation with them.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, if I'm filling out a form, I turn it over and I write things about what I learned through our conversation too. Thank you, Sony. I like the QR code. Okay, go ahead, Nicole.
Hello, everyone. So I just want to encourage everyone. My very first tower that I sold was at a trade show. One of my first trade shows that I did in Dania Beach. And that was exciting. And something that I do, and I don't know if Alicia mentioned it because I had to go to a phone call. I intentionally prepare myself, with the intention of selling. And I put in Ziploc bags, mini Ziploc bags, 5 of the red and the green, and then on another one, the trio. And in my mind, I said, okay, today I'm going for 3 sales or 2 sales, whatever. And I bring multiple. And that's intention, right? And so I have sold Juice Plus at trade shows, and I give them, I use the tablet a lot, and I put it on the counter and I, on the table, I'm sorry, and I have it playing videos on mute. And when people come and we're having a good conversation, I show them a 2-minute or whatever from a video, how it's made, I think is the shortest one. And that calls also attention. And I think that solidifies the conversation. And that has helped me to make sales on the spot. And another thing that I want to share is that we never know who we are going to meet. And I went for like about 6 months on a monthly basis, paying each time into a government building. And on that 6th time, with Daniela on me, because she was months, I will carry my tower garden, my table, across the street, finding parking and all of that, very fun in downtown Miami. That's how I met someone that worked for the VPK program, and she was the connection for me to continue the conversation with upper management in order to get tower gardens in the VPK program. So we never know who we are going to meet. And I was there for 6 months, and it was that one time. So they are fun. You got to make it fun. You can bring music. You have to have fun to attract fun people to you. And I also do, I don't know if I did it, and I didn't do it, but is this a sheet where it says name, phone number, email, where I collect their information, and on the back, I put as many, bring music, yeah. And I put on the back whatever conversation we were having, like Sharon said, I do not remember. So on the back I go, oh, nurse, 3 kids, or constipation, or whatever the conversation is. So I know, number one, how to address it, to make it personalized, their name, the shirt, or whatever that stands out on them, so I can identify them in my mind. Oh, yes, this is this person. So then I can have the conversation through text or email, more personalized. That has helped me tremendously. So yes, that's all. Thank you.
I love that. Sometimes when people like the tower garden, I'll be like, do you want a picture with the tower garden? because they want to send it to their spouse or whatever, then you have that picture. Or that's why Facebook, I like to friend them because I'll forget. But I love that, the shirt they have on or whatever whatever you're talking about. What kind of music do you put on, Nicole?
It all depends where I'm at. If
yeah.
it's for children, I cater to children. If it's
good.
adult, it's whatever music I like. But
Uh-huh.
yes, I make it fun for me. Yes, I bring my
like
own
that,
little
yeah.
speaker. Mhm.
I love
Yes.
that. And then you have the iPad playing. And
Right.
they found a survey of people. What do they want to hear most or see from us about Juice Plus is the making. So that's so perfect that you're showing the making. I know I had an event recently where I showed that video, and it was at somebody else's house. The lady goes, that video sold me. I've always wondered how in the world is it done? And so it was for somebody else that she signed up under, but it was great to learn that. Go ahead, Michelle.
Wow, that makes me think we need to post that on social media too, how it's made. That you just triggered me. But this weekend I actually did 2 trade shows. One was with Nicole first thing in the morning, and then I left there early to go to another one, which was with Michelle Williamson and the organization she's a part of. But I will share that it's so great when you can actually buddy up with someone. I know sometimes we're forced to do it by ourselves, which I've done tons by myself, but when you're with someone else, it makes such a difference. But I got to watch Nicole in action this weekend, and oh my gosh, I was so impressed. I was like, I don't have to say anything. She went into like a quick synopsis of Juice Plus, and then she shared her story really succinctly. And I was like, wow, it was just amazing to watch her do that. And so, yeah, if you can go with someone, you'll pick up little pointers. I've done trade shows with just about everyone you saw in the pictures that Sharon posted. I did trade shows with Sandy. I've done trade shows with Jules. I did tons with Sharon. That's how I started in the business. I've done them with Alicia. I met her at a trade show, and then we got to do a trade show together before she left to go to Tennessee. So you'll just see different people's styles, and I'm always like a sponge, like absorbing, because when it comes to like being organized and all that stuff, I have my crazy organization. It's not like Julie Herbst, not at all. But I get to learn how to be better. And so someone like Alicia on my team and someone like Nicole, and I did learn from everyone. And even I see Bella's on here too. Bella is the queen of having an event. Oh my gosh, she's so organized, so meticulous. So I get to learn from all those people. So I just say that to say, if you can partner up or even just get to check out someone who might be in the area, check them out and see how they do things, because you'll pick up little tips here and there too.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You and I are a lot alike. Here's a pile of contacts. So I'm gonna call on Karen. It's about time, right, Karen? Karen's also the queen of trade shows. And she said that she's gonna bring all her leads that she's gotten and organize them. I don't know if you did. It's okay if you didn't. Anyway, so tell us why you like to do trade shows, Karen. And don't overwhelm everybody with your big notebook. That's okay. We don't need this notebook. You're gonna break your
No, I'm gonna show you, hold on. The ones I'm getting. Oh gosh, hold on. This is the pile I've gone through that I'm getting rid of.
Oh my gosh.
Because at a certain point, if they haven't responded in, I don't know if you saw it or not, there's got to be a couple hundred of them in there, where I sent out a last text like, hey, when I met you a few years ago, you were interested, da 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 da, kind of like, you know, S or get off the pot. Like, are you interested or not?
Yeah.
And I always get like one, but it's not a lot. It's like, oh yeah, I'm still interested. I give them a couple of days and then I delete them out of my phone, and because I got newer people I got to follow up with, you know. And so as far as an actual trade show, I put my gummies in like a little mini muffin, like the disposable little muffin things. The toothpick scares me with little spastic kids running around. Like, I'm always afraid they're going to poke their eye out or something stupid. I don't know. But the gummy samples, I do bring carafes, like the carafes with the shake in them. And then most of the time I do bring the Tower Garden Can you see me? I've only got like one bar. Can you hear me? Okay. Most of the time I bring the Tower Garden unless it's an event that they just don't have the room where I can put it like an indoor event. But I do company health fairs, farmers markets. I tell you that you just never know, like what you guys said, where you're going to get some good leads. I've done events, guys, where there was 7,000 people, and I felt like all I did was pass out gummy samples. I didn't get to have a good quality conversation with people because it was just so many people. And so now I actually stay away from those events because I would rather have a good conversation with one person for 10 minutes than have 200 people walk by and then they're just taking gummy samples. So I've done events where I get 40, 50 names and I go home and you follow up with them, and everybody's usually asking me, you send them something that day, and then within 2 days you're following up with them. And then, usually about a week, right? And then usually then it's a couple of weeks if you haven't heard back from them. And then finding events to follow up with them, finding like what everybody else has said. I always write on the back, oh, had breast cancer, mom had cerebral palsy, whatever it is, try and find the kids don't eat veggies, kids sick all the time. She's a teacher, she's sick all the time. Trying to find what their pain is on why they want Juice Plus. And then when you've got events, following up with them on those events. And I will tell you, we can't stress enough cold market. You will do a lot of follow up with a lot of people and never hear back from most of them. But Sandy is from a trade show. Debbie DeJesse is from a trade show. Melena is from a trade show. Rodney, who he doesn't do a lot, is from a trade show. Like I have probably more than half of my team from trade shows. A lot of my customer base is, from trade show, health events, things like that. So trying to engage them by asking questions. I used to in the beginning just kind of vomit on people, my Juice Plus story, but now I love to really get them thinking, because if you can get them thinking and you can get them to make the decision in their mind that, oh gosh, this would be good for me. Not necessarily are they going to be signing up that day, but they're at least going to give you their information. I want to qualify people that I want to make sure they're interested. I don't do free giveaways. Oh, sign up and give a free giveaway, because I do not want to follow up with people that aren't really interested in Juice Plus. So that's, the number one thing. But I'm always asking people, oh, do you take a vitamin? And this is the funniest, guys, if you don't do this. And most of them are like, oh yeah, I take a vitamin. And I'll say, well, why do you take a vitamin? And then a lot of them just give you a blank stare. And they're like, well, because I know I'm not eating right. And I'll say, well, do you know where vitamins come from? And then they just look. No, one lady actually goes, darn it. I was like, no, that's not what I meant. But, and so then I'm like, well, vitamins come from fruits and vegetables. So, why aren't we eating the fruit? So it just gets this whole conversation going. And then if it's a really busy health fair, I do stay behind the table because sometimes it's just easier. If it's not and you want to attract people in, I go in the front of the table, and I try and bring people to the table. So just trying to, and if it's a kids event, having some sort of kid, something there, like I've got the, I haven't done this in a little while, the traffic light where they've got I've got the little 3-way poster board and it's got red light, yellow light, green light. And I've got some little fruits and veggies with the Velcro on it, and they can put where they think the fruits and veggies are, or you could even just have stickers, something simple. Gosh, I'm trying to think what else. But
Let me ask you.
follow up, we got all the,
Okay, yeah, we'll get to follow up. You're right. That's good. How can somebody find different trade shows, vendor booths?
Well, in Florida, quite often, if you can get in with the first one, talking to other vendors who do trade shows. So, like talking to some of like Cigna or Humana, some of the places that they're at trade shows all the time, finding other vendors who do trade shows and saying, oh my gosh, I'm kind of new to this. Would you mind sharing? Can I get your contact information? And, would you mind sharing with me some of the events that you are signing up for, you're doing in the future? Sometimes you can see stuff, you can ask out there on Facebook in your county. You can do a Google search. You can look on Eventbrite for, health fairs and things like that. Now, sometimes that ends up being kind of a last minute thing and it's too late. Trying to connect with people. But once you get in with the first one, I forget who was saying it, but you never know where it's going to lead. I guess it was you, Sharon, where I did, some Earth Day event down in Fort Lauderdale. And the guy who was the head of MODS, like the program at MODS Education, he came over and he says, I love this. I think that the people coming to MODS would really love Juice Plus. So that's how we were in MODS for years for free. And that's where I met Sandy and got so many customers. So sometimes it's just the connections you can make at your first event.
Great. Okay. And then I just put in here in Facebook vendor, and you could put in where you're at. And most likely there's a group where they're always looking for vendors. Okay. They'll post different things. We're looking for whatever, we're looking for. My favorite types of booths to do are ones where people actually know me, because I can continue the conversation, or we already have that warm market thing. But you can have a vendor booth at a lot of places. I wouldn't do it at a big place. Like, I don't know. You have to judge, if there's going to be a lot of candy, a lot of food trucks, I would not do a vendor booth there. So I like the idea of keeping it, smaller, because also if people come up to your table and they've already had chicken wings, ice cream, we can't really compete with that with our gummies. Our gummies are good, but if they're coming right after that with their kids, it could be a tough sell. Well, let's talk about follow-up for a second. Then Doug's going to show us on the boards where to go, just for like a checklist or ideas. And also you can always go into Team Transformers albums. But I was thinking that if I had like the person, the paper, I would definitely don't want to feel like a solicitor. And sometimes you do feel like a solicitor, especially if you don't make an appointment with that person. So if you're at the booth and you're like, I'm going to make my calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays this week, can I give you a call Tuesday after 5? Does that sound like it might work? It might not work out, but at least you've gotten that permission that they've said yes. So then you're like, hey, this is Sharon. I met you at yada yada. We talked about yada yada, and I told you I'm going to make some calls after 5. I just wanted to let you know I've got your name and number. I just want to follow up with you to see what you thought of the videos or the materials I sent you. And so I'm going to just keep making calls. I'll call you back in a little while. So that's how I would handle that. And then if I don't get a hold of you, I'll try you on Thursday. That way you're giving yourself permission to not be a solicitor. As much as you could do that, then that'll take the icky feeling out of following up with people from the vendor booth. And as much as you can, you want to bond with certain people. If they're like the greatest people you've ever met for Juice Plus, you want to really focus on them. You don't want to focus on numbers, quality more than the numbers. Go ahead, Karen. What else?
Yeah, no, I agree with that, because I would rather come home with 6 names that I can really follow up with those people instead of 40 or 50 people that it's just a shot in the dark and I'm, now I'm just texting. But yeah, the follow up, like I was talking about before, is key. And even look, there's going to be a ton of people you're going to follow up with, and they're still not going to get back with you. And that's okay. But the sooner you can follow up with them, because that was their excitement. Their excitement was when you were talking and yet they were signing up. The sooner you can follow up and remind them of why. Hey, I just wanted to follow up with you. I know that you were interested in Juice Plus because your kids, keep getting sick and they're not eating enough fruits and vegetables. I would love to, find out, were you able to watch that video? And I have a different thing. I took it beyond that. Stacy sent out months ago, the link to her boards where she created the whole, this is about Juice Plus. So now I send out that link. So it's actually like, a few videos and it's the pictures. It looks really, really beautiful. And so I send that out to everybody, and just expect that 99% of them are not watching that video in the first couple of days. Like they're just not. I can count on one hand out of all the vendor events that I've done where people have actually called me, like Sandy Stetter, she actually called me before I called her, which was interesting. Janet Rice called me before I called her. So it doesn't happen often. And most of these people might still be interested, but they get busy just like we get busy. And so I want to also really, really tell you that I am, because I do so many events, a lot of these people can fall through the cracks pretty quickly because all of a sudden I get overwhelmed by how many people I've got. So don't get to the point of where you're like, I haven't talked to them in 3 months. I can't follow up with them now. You know, that's going to look bad. No, you absolutely follow up with them, because what you say is, you know, I am so sorry. Life got in the way. I know I was supposed to follow up with you, you know, and I'm so sorry because I know you were so interested. Just own it, you know, just own it and follow up with them, because you never know. What if they need that? What if, you know, and there's a lot of people that when they get interested, they're interested in the beginning. They're kind of interested because it makes sense, but you don't know if a year down the road, all of a sudden they need it, right? Somebody in their family has cancer, or you just never know what their story is. And then sometimes they decide they're not interested. I had somebody recently who, you know, he said, oh, no, I can get that cheaper at the store. And I tried to have the conversation with him. And I think for him, it's just more about money. You just aren't going to get them all, you know, you just aren't. So
That's for sure. Thank you, Karen.
I want to share real fast before you move on to the next, because this was a great idea Alicia shared with our team. When it comes to vendors, many vendors do ask for a raffle price. You may find that. And I was always giving a shaker or something valuable, but we also have to pay to become a vendor in many of them. So she had this great idea where she printed out a salad in a jar party invitation, and then I wish you can post that verbiage again, because I lost it and Michelle did too. We did it this last Saturday, but it was so great, her verbiage. And so with that, you add a pen and gummies or individual packs of shakes. And people love those salad parties events. They just don't know. And it's just welcoming. They can invite, we get to be in their warm market with their friends, family, because we host them at their space, their time. And we just add an expiration date for urgency. And also, you know, it has an expiration date. So you have until a certain time to book it up through us. And I think that's a great, great idea. Oh, I think Michelle just shared it. Yes. Thank you. That was it.
Nice. This voucher can be used, I'll share it so that,
are you able to put that into Facebook?
Michelle, can you do that? Let's see. So it says meal prepping made easy and fun. This voucher, and you can put it on stock paper, can be used to schedule and co-host a salad in a jar party with Michelle Fletcher. You and some friends will collaborate in a fun and delicious salad meal prepping party. Michelle will also provide some tasty smoothies and protein ball snacks to sample and enjoy. Very good. Very good. That's awesome. Yeah, because you never know what to put in those bags for raffles. I have one that I need to do too. So I love that. Thank you.
That's a good idea.
So I put something in the chat that what I've put on my table recently is, you know, learn more about my sourdough workshops and my salad in a jar parties. And I will tell you, there's people that when you're at these events, sometimes they literally walk down the middle because they're afraid to walk too close to a booth, right? And I have gotten people over to my table simply because they're like, you teach sourdough? Not so much the salads, but you teach sourdough? And so I've gotten at least 3 people to come to my house that had no interest in Juice Plus. And what's interesting is one of them has ordered. Now the other 2 haven't ordered yet, but I couldn't even get onto my table except for the sourdough.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, well, within reason.
I know, you know what I mean. Okay, gonna turn it to Doug. He's gonna show us where on boards, and I'm gonna say goodbye because Matthew needs me. So maybe also show the events for the week, Dougie.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just make sure everybody knows where this is, especially our people on Facebook, because I see a lot of old faces here. Not old, you know what I mean though. Okay, all right, so on boards, and hopefully you guys know you can use boards on your computer too. On the Campbell team board, under events, right here. We go, the bottom right is vendor table setup. And in this, you're gonna see some pictures. It's nice to get some ideas. Trying to scroll, there we go. Is that Heather? I think it is. And, oh, and this is the handouts. This is a PDF that has some handouts you could print if you wanted to, or just maybe put in a little frame. It's nice to have something visual on your table. When you go to a table, you'll notice in these pictures, before I get to that, imagine if you're out in the middle of the, like Karen said, you're walking by the table, you're gonna look over, there's gotta be something to catch your eye. So you kind of wanna go vertical, you know? So you got to get something up, some pictures. Even when you have like that that table skirt that's down low, that's tough sometimes because sometimes there's people standing in front of it and it covers it up. So having boxes and other things on the table is really good. And these are just some examples of things you could put on the table. Here's a nice little handout you can copy and cut into fourths. That is like a way to gather information from people. So you want to get their name, their cell number, their email, and then let them circle what they're interested in. And then what you can do is, if you have a little mini clipboard, you can have a couple of those out with these on there. And now right when they walk away, I like to take their info piece of paper they just filled out, flip it over and write down anything from the conversation that I just had. Because when you get home and you have, 10, 20, 30 of these forms, you're not going to remember who Susie is. And you're not going to remember that they had 2 kids and one of them has asthma and the other one's an athlete and things like that. Another thing is really important. I've learned the hard way. You get home, you have a great conversation, you have notes on the back of it, then you turn it over and you can't read the cell phone or the email information. Make sure you check and see that you can read it on the spot after they hand it back to you. Look at that cell phone and email information and make sure you can read the letters that they wrote. And I was posting this into the chat a little bit earlier, but this is on boards. All you Facebook people, you'll be able to get this on the board, which I did put a link on Facebook. But this just gives you an idea of what to bring, what to say, important tips, and text messages you could send to your prospects. Always remember text messages, all this stuff for their suggestions, you got to make it your own. I would never send this message personally. I would send my usual message, which is in boards, which we showed you guys a million times. But I'll show you again just for funsies. This is the message that Sharon and I use all the time. I can't tell where it is on here.
It's the I recommend.
Okay, here it is. Let's do trio capsules. Oops, that's the order form. Here we go. It was great talking with you. I recommend the Juice Plus capsules. But before that, I would write something like, hey, Sue, it was great to meet you today at the vendor booth. I'm excited for you to learn more about Juice Plus. Then I would go right to, I recommend the Juice Plus capsules, fruits, veggie, berries, and omegas, and the delicious complete shakes. Adding this to nutrition every day gives you the nutrition from over 45 foods. And then it gives the links to those and says, I'm excited to see what you think. Usually I'll write at the end too, like I'll follow up tomorrow.
Can you
or
copy
something.
that into the chat for everybody?
Yeah,
Because that's on your board.
that's on my personal board. Yes. Can you guys put in the chat? Do you guys need like a hands-on training? We're thinking about maybe doing more like real trainings, like how to use boards, how to use Project Broadcast, things like that, where you walk through it and you actually do it during the workshop. Thinking about doing some of that. What is the one I was going to do next week? Oh, since I'm doing this school order thing right now, I was thinking about doing Tower Gardens in schools next week at the Lunch and Learn, and talking about how to approach a school, what to say, how to get a meeting, what you do at the meeting, giving you examples of all the letters I've done over time, the order forms, the school ordering process, all that. Okay, lots of yeses, so that's good.
Yes,
Okay, cool. Tina.
yes.
Well, next week is school Tower Gardens info. So if you have experience selling Tower Gardens to schools, reach out to me. I'd love to have you as one of my guests for speaking. That'd be great. All right, any questions or comments as we land the plane here with vendor booths? Everybody good? Sharon, I'm not the host, so you're gonna have to stop the Facebook thing.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a great day. I think she wanted me to go over events, but now people are leaving, so sorry.